Tough Metal back with another video. The topic of today's rant: 10 brutal death metal albums. My top 10. What are my favorites? What's going on, guys? So summer's coming up, man. It's something about the summertime, man. I start listening to two genres way more: death metal, specifically brutal death metal, and gore grind. And since I already made a damn video on my favorite gore grind albums, go check that out if you haven't seen it already. I figured it was time to do one on my favorite BDM album. So let's just get one thing out of the way. I am not the goddamn brutal death metal king. I am not the super nerd when it comes to brutal death metal, okay? To be honest with you, I've only really been into, you know, the weeds with this stuff for the past maybe 2 or 3 years, right? So I ain't the guy as far as that shit is concerned. Go watch Jimmy on the Block, Ethereal, all those guys, you know, before you watch for my, you know, this is the best stuff that you've ever heard. You know, like, I ain't here to give you any of that. What I am here to give you is what I've really dug that I found since I started listening deeper and listening to some of these more brutal death metal bands. So, yeah, I'll give you my 10 here. I'm going to do one honorable mention first. And, you know, it's funny that they didn't make the list because I put them in my top 10, I think, death metal bands, or at least my top 10 death metal albums of all time, whatever it was, like. But it's funny, man, whenever that video was, my tastes have changed since then. It's funny, dude. Your tastes are always rapidly evolving. It's always hard to say this is my top 10. And sometimes on the top 10s, I end up thinking to myself, like, well, it's not really necessarily my favorite right now. It's just one of the bands that got me into it to begin with, you know? So one of those bands for brutal death metal for me is always going to be this band right here, coming up as the honorable mention. Putrid Pile, baby. Yeah, dude, I love Putrid Pile, man. I'll always love this album. So it would really be a toss-up, man, between this album and the next one I'll show. But Drenched in Gasoline, Gallery of Horror, you got some Star Wars samples in here of Anakin. I killed them, not just the men, but the women and the children. You know, dude, just fucking, it got me there. But yeah, dude, this is just an awesome album. If you never checked out Collection of Butchery, and dude, one of the things that sold me too, look at that album cover. Sorry about my light, but if you can see the album cover, it's that amazing fucking 2000s look, you know, something about that 2000s digital art look that, dude, personally, man, I can never get enough of that. So if I see something that looks like that, I'm like, I almost like feel like just on the aesthetic alone, I have to buy it. But that was like one of the first bands that got me into this stuff, and I think that art style was part of it. And here's my favorite probably album by them, House of Dementia. This album fucking rules, man. I am a huge fan of this. This, I think he honed in the sound a little more. Dude, you got songs on here, Involuntary, USI. I don't know if I can say the you know, involuntary offing of yourself. I think you get the point I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to get whatever taken off the tube here, but the song Dead is awesome. 25 Cromwell Street, the Gore Box, dude, tons. In the intro, that nice little acoustic intro, you know, dude, awesome stuff. So if you never checked out House of Dementia, do it, man. I'd like to hear some more takes on Putrid Pile, dude, because I feel like, you know, people don't give him the respect he deserves, and I'm a big fan. So check out Putrid Pile, House of Dementia, if you've never done so. Now let's get into the top 10. There's my honorable mention. We're going to start off right off the rip. Now, here's the thing with this top 10. Keep in mind that I'm ranking things based on what my favorites are, yeah, but like it's more of like some of these albums I haven't given as much time, and if you give it like another 6 months to a year, some stuff might be higher and it might be lower. So coming in at number 10, I almost feel bad putting it here because, dude, I ripped this today, and I was actually listening to Sickening Erotic as well lately. But, dude, coming in at 10, we got Mortal Decay with Forensic, dude. I don't think as far as brutal death metal goes, like especially in the technical side, dude, it doesn't get better than Forensic, man, dude. This is just like, from that first line, what is it? I never get used to the smell of burn victims, dude. I was immediately like, holy shit. And this is, I think, one of the first brutal death, like literal brutal death albums I remember hearing. And dude, I remember seeing the vinyl come out. What a moron I was to not buy this. I must have been broke or something. I don't know what the deal was, but not a smart move on my end. But yeah, man, so dude, songs on here, especially the run from Beyond Forensic Knowledge, Recollections, that awesome little acoustic track, and then Razor Slice Decor. It's kind of my favorite point in the album, but dude, I mean, yeah, that song My Mind Bleeds Tragedies is just an absolute ripper. So yeah, the 10th spot, had to give it to Mortal Decay's Forensic. Man, and that album cover again, how much looks like that, you know? What else looks exactly quite like this? It's that green, something about the green too, like if there's a cool like green aesthetic, always gets me. I don't know how else to put it. I think Typo Negative got me with that shit. So yeah, man, check out Mortal Decay's Forensic if you've never heard it. Now, coming in at number 9, I'm gonna lose track of these numbers as we go through, I can already tell, but here's an album that I had bought in, I think a year ago or so, whenever it was pressed by Dissonant Tapes. Let's talk about Cerebral Serial, man. Oh, dude, what an album. A one-and-doneer, you know? I think this is the only thing this band ever put out, dude. Oh, my God. Especially the song Impaled on Stakes. I think that was the one that, like, immediately I was like, holy shit, that bass, whatever the bass line, whatever that is. Like, dude, it's fucking wild, man. It's awesome, yeah. But it just right again though, from the intro track, Gorging on Mucus and Bile, dude, I was like, again, and then you get to, I mean, the fact that there's a song on here called Sugar Spiced Anus. Dude, this is one of the things I love in brutal death metal where, dude, it's like the most abhorrent, you know, kind of nasty music that you can imagine. But at the same time, dude, there seems to be like humor to it. You know, there's a bit of tongue-in-cheekness to it. So Pyamia's Cerebral Serial, dude, absolutely is like, man, it just hits all the right places for me, man, as far as brutal death goes. So if you've never listened to this, highly recommend that you do so. It's definitely still to this day one of my favorite, but I'm wondering in time if Mortal Decay will beat it out, because even as I'm saying this, I'm like, damn, I really am kind of liking that Mortal Decay shit lately. So anyways, let's move on to what's next, and this should be higher on the list. I know it, I almost don't like even bringing this up this early, but dude, Purging of Impurity by Reputilation, man. Come on, dude. What kind of project can be this good? Again, another one and done, right? I don't think they ever did anything else. But again, I haven't spent much time nerding out over these guys. It's not really my forte. I'll leave that to Jimmy on the block, like I said. But dude, Jesus Christ, man, you want to just talk about? Like, I think my favorite song is "Decay of Humanity" with that sample at the beginning, and then again the bass that comes in. You dance, motherfucker, dance, and doom 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 doom. Dude, it's one of the bounciest, craziest songs I've ever heard, and it's so fucking heavy, dude. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of this little project. Again, you got 4 songs, and then 2 of them are the same on side B. It's a super, like, there's really not much to it except the fact that it absolutely rips. You know what I mean? Everything on here absolutely rips. Probably should have done a little research on these bands so I could talk about, you know, who they are and what they went on to do after this. But you know what, again, why don't you guys tell me? I'll leave that to you guys. You guys are better nerds than I'll ever be. So anyways, yeah, Purging of Impurity by Reputilation, dude, it's just absolutely unreal. Every song on here is good, of the, you know, of the ones that there are. Very short album, so you should have no problem throwing this bitch on. And also, bonus points, I wanted to bring this up too, to Reputilation, because this is one of my, any band that has this aspect will make its way to one of, you know, to being closer to one of my favorites. And this is what Mortal Decay doesn't have, is this is great gym music, man. Mortal Decay is great, but that's music you sit down, you listen to, or when you're driving around, like, yeah, you throw it on then. But Reputilation, man, this is just like, this is just the vibe, dude. This is like if you need to get in go mode or whatever, you know, throw this on. If you're hitting the gym, can I listen to it at the gym? That's always going to be a big question of mine. And yeah, Reputilation, you certainly can. And yeah, so anyways, major points there. And yeah, as far as the rest of these albums go, some things will be placed according to that to some extent. You know, can I rip it while I'm working out? All right, next up on the list, you knew they were going to be on here. And it's really hard to kind of pick one album from these guys because it's, dude, it's them. And now I will say, if you like one album, it's like you like them all. Let's just go for it, man. And it's like hard to even really pick one. The Tish, Mortician, House by the Cemetery. I think my favorite stuff that Mortician does is like on here and Zombie Apocalypse, like that their low fire sound, their rawer sound, you know, before the actual, like, I know these are considered EPs, but before the full lengths. But yeah, man, I really love House by the Cemetery, man. You got Driller Killer on here, one of my favorite tracks and one of my favorite samples, because I think that's such an underrated horror movie. Shout out to that. Defiler of the Dead, World Domination. Oh, so good, dude. And House by the Cemetery, actually one of my of the Beyond trilogy of, you know, the Lucio Fulci. Yeah, of that trilogy, House by the Cemetery is my least favorite. The Beyond is good, and my favorite will always be City of the Living Dead. But yeah, and then you get the shout out to Celtic Frost. You get the cover of that on here, and Scum, and then yeah, dude, you get it. So I just really love the sound of House by the Cemetery. And one other album I just wanted to shout out quick by Mortician, while we're on the subject here, is one that I feel like doesn't get enough love, and I've heard people say they don't like this album as much. Dude, Darkest Day of Horror. This has some of my favorite Mortician tracks on it. I'm always hyping this album, man. If you've been watching my channel for a bit, you know I talk about this one. But Audra, what a killer opening track, man. And then the Bloodseekers, Darkest Day of Horror, the title track, man. I love, that's one of my favorite Mortician songs, hands down. And the rest, you know, you got Human Puzzle, which has the Pieces sample and stuff like that. I love the movie Pieces as well. So, dude, I always thought this was a fantastic Mortician album. And kind of, dude, I'm not saying I reached for it before, like Chainsaw Dismemberment all the time, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. This is a really catchy one. It's a really catchy album. So, yeah, and you know, the thing is with a lot of Mortician, dude, I'm not going to lie to you, if I'm being totally honest, like, trying to give you song titles and track titles and stuff, like it can be hard, because, dude, you start listening to these albums, you forget that some songs are fast and short, you forget what the fuck you're listening to, you know what I mean? So it can be kind of brutal, but anyways, I got to speed this up because my camera's about to die. Next up, we got a band I'm a big fan of. Here we go. Like I said, I forgot what number I'm on, but here, let's just talk about Disgorge, She Lay Gutted. This is one of my favorites, man. Dude, you got a Womb Full of Scabs on here. She Lay Gutted, the title track, absolutely killer stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to shout out Disgorge, but is this my favorite of the Disgorge material? Probably of the full lengths. I don't know. I mean, I spend less time with it because I don't own Cranial Impalement, but I will say, now, hear me out. Not to be the hipster in the room or whatever, but I will say I am a really big fan of this right here, Demo Impalement, dude. This has the sound to me, especially when they get Maddie Way on the 95 demo, dude. It just rips, dude. It absolutely rips. It's killer, man. I don't want to be the guy. I feel like I don't have even the right to be the guy who's, because I wasn't around when these were coming out, to be like, oh yeah, bro, no, the demos are better. But sometimes, man, a lot of times, dude, I'm reaching for this before I am even She Lay Gutted. Not that I didn't just get She Lay Gutted, but also I want to do a quick shout out too, before I forget, to Rika Death Records, who's been putting out this stuff. They've been putting out this. I grabbed Dawn of the Black Hearts and a few other things from them, and I just grabbed some other shit. I'm going to do a full video on Rika Death soon because I like everything they've been putting out. But next up, let's speed it along here. Come on, you know what it is. Instruments of Torture, Brodequin. Dude, absolutely killer. Spinning in Agony, Soothsayer, dude, what Strepato. Killer tracks on here, dude. Absolutely freaking brutal. And this is one of those albums that the sound is so unique, dude. There is nothing quite that sounds like Instruments of Torture. So if you haven't checked this out, man, please do yourself a huge favor, because it is absolutely a really original sounding brutal death metal album. It's got almost like a thinner sound than all the rest of the stuff, because when I think brutal death, I usually think like, you know, a thick, bassy, you know, album, but this is much more thin and sharp and sounds like literal Instruments of Torture. Next up, I think we're in the top 4 here. I gotta speed it along. Like I said, the camera's gonna die. Come on. Cryptopsy, None So Vile. My favorite memory to this album now is gonna be walking into the Dead by Dog warehouse, open warehouse. and this was playing, dude. They were letting this rip, and dude, just listening to this, browsing the open warehouse, it'll always be a highlight. And now I'm very sentimental towards this album because of that, but I liked it even beforehand. My favorite song on here will always be Orgiastic Disembowelment. Again, this is probably one of the first. I found this even before I think I even knew that, like, there was death metal and there was brutal death metal, and I remember just loving that song. And you know, you get the Bruce Campbell sample from Army of Darkness at the end. Major points there, absolutely killer, dude. And then what do you want me to tell you? The tracks, you know the tracks, dude. You've been, you know, eating your own puke to that soundtrack. Who knows how long? Because I was, you know, late to the game on some of this stuff. Now I gotta pardon me for having to hold my hand in a certain way for this one, but you goddamn brutal death metalers, let's go. MTD by Devourment. I think we're in the top 3 now. Yeah, I'm speed running because we are running out of time. But anyways, yeah, dude, come on. Choking on Bile, the title track. Corpo Facial. Dude, so many killer tracks on here. And again, why is this so high up on the list? Because this is one of my favorite damn gym albums, dude. This is something I rip at the gym, and it just gets you in the vibe. Dude, like, just ridiculousness. Absolutely ridiculous levels of riffage and nastiness. So if you haven't checked out MTD, what's the word? What are you doing? Now, here we go. We're getting into the final 2. Let's just get right into it because we only have a moment here. Regurgitation with Tales of Necrophilia. This is one of my favorite. This is one of the first albums that ever, like, shocked me. I remember discovering this probably 2-3 years ago. Again, was at the gym, just threw it on while I was working out, and holy balls, dude, was I like, holy shit, just the album cover, everything about it, dude. My favorite song, the one that caught me, Acid Enema, dude. And then, yeah, dude, just absolutely unreal album, dude. Out of the Womb. You know the tracks. I don't even have to tell you about any of this. Look at the list, dude. You know all about it. You knew about it probably before I even did. But goddamn, dude, Regurgitation, big shout out. This is one of the best brutal death metal albums you'll ever hear. And my number 1 spot, this surpasses any kind of genre to me. Malignancy, Intrauterine Cannibalism. Seeing these guys live, combined with my love for this album, it makes it a staple, not just, it goes past just being a brutal death metal album to me. It's just like, this is everything I want in music, man. Right here, dude. These guys just absolutely freaking kill this one. Rotten Seed's one of the best death metal songs of all time. I will stand by that. Waterlogged Corpse, Intestinal Sodomy. What do you want, dude? Come on, if you want brutal, if you want the sick shit, brah, dude, come on, how is it not? Everything you want, not right here on Intrauterine Cannibalism. Crazy ass album cover, you know the deal, dude. Come on, they're one of the best to ever do it. And I just fucking love this band, dude. Big shout out to Danny and Ronnie, dude. Absolutely awesome guys. Danny, really cool when I met him at Dead by Dog. Seemed like a really nice guy. Was fucking hilarious on stage. And goddamn, is this album forever gonna be cemented in me as one of my favorites of all time. So that's it, guys. Those are my top brutal death metal albums of all time. Do me a favor. Let me know what yours are. Hoo-hoo!